What's up YouTube, Capital G here, checking out the brand new Dragunity Synchro monster that just got revealed coming out of Cybernetic Horizon. This is actually pretty shocking to me. It's not just that I didn't expect Dragunity to be getting more support in Cybernetic Horizon kind of randomly, but the fact that it's actually a Synchro monster and not a Link is like, wait, what? You guys know that obviously a lot of the legacy archetypes have been getting Link monsters recently. Hell, we just found out that in Cybernetic Horizon, you know, Cyber Dragons are getting a Link monster. In Flames of Destruction, Wind-Ups are getting a Link monster as well. Obviously, we had all the archetypes, the older ones, getting Link monsters in like the Link Vrains pack. So pretty much everybody's getting a Link, and Konami went in a little bit of the opposite direction with Dragunity. I think it's because of Ducks and Phalanx and the fact that that puts two monsters on the field really, really easily. So a Link 2 would have been maybe too easy, and I don't know, maybe Konami felt like if they made a Link for Dragunity, it would have had to been like a Link 3 or something like that. But they actually went the route of the Synchro, and I have to say this card is surprisingly impressive. Like it kind of feels like it was designed by one of the guys from like the GX era, and you'll understand what I mean when I read the first effect. So this is Dragunity Knight Ascalon, and hopefully I pronounced that right. It's a level 10, so it does work kind of well with what you naturally do in Dragunity. Anyone who's played Dragunity knows that usually level 8 synchros are like the bread and butter of the deck. So basically you just put Phalanx on top of like one of your 8s and just keep it moving. It is a Wind Dragon Synchro. 3,300 attack, 2,200 defense, so the stat line is incredibly good. The materials are a Dragunity tuner plus one or more non-tuner monsters, so it's incredibly easy to make. You're probably making level 8s every turn in Dragunity ideally, so you should just be able to add a Phalanx to one of those level 8s, whether it be Omega, Crystal Wing, whatever, and summon it pretty easily. And it says you can only activate the second effect as the hard once per turn, but the first effect is the one that like I could see being exploited, which is just weird. The first effect says you can banish one Dragunity monster in your graveyard, then target one monster your opponent controls, banish that monster. So this is really crazy. You can basically banish 5 monsters on your opponent's side of the field, and I found it a little shocking that that effect was not a hard once per turn. I understand it's not quite as OP as Darkon Dragon because you can't go after Pendulum Scales or Floodgates or Field Spells or anything like that, but still, this guy is 3,300, and when you're really thinking about it, what even matters in Dragunity's graveyard except really copies of like Phalanx, and you only need one of that to kind of make your level 8 synchro plays every single turn. You can pretty much get rid of all your Legionnaires and your Duxes and whatnot, because once you normal summon those cards, you pretty much get all your utility. If you have other copies of like Vajray in your graveyard, you can just get rid of those. So I can definitely see this effect coming online like turn 2 or maybe turn 3, and really being able to get rid of like 2-3 monsters on your opponent's side of the field. I think that that can be extremely useful, and don't be surprised if you see this effect being used upwards of like 3 times in a turn. The second effect, which actually is the hard once per turn, if this synchro summon card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card by battle or by card effect, you can special summon one Dragunity synchro monster with 3,000 or less attack from your extra deck. This is treated as a synchro summon, so this is really good. Basically the card floats and it lets you get any of your other Dragunity synchro monsters. It summons, from what I've seen, every single Dragunity synchro except another copy of itself. I would probably, depending on the position that I'm in, right? Like if I think my monster is going to live or not, if I know my monster is going to die, I'm probably going to go for Gay Durg, and I'm going to maybe drop a copy of like Zephyros the Elite in my graveyard, because Zephyros the Elite is a really good card in Dragunity, just having it in your graveyard, basically making it so that you can bounce your Ravine, summon it to the field for free, do your pop-off plays. If I know my monster is going to survive, I'm probably going to get a copy of Vajray, because that basically goes right into a level 8 synchro during my next turn. But I think this card is extremely good, and the fact that like Monster Reborn is actually legal, I don't know if people realize that's actually a pretty significant buff for a deck like Dragunity, because it allows Dragunity to make their level 8 synchros in their first play, whether that be Omega or whether that be Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Then in your following turn, you can just summon your Ducks, you can go into your Ascalon, and then you can just Monster Reborn the Omega or the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and you don't really have to worry about being cucked by Master Rule 4, which is why maybe Dragunity didn't actually need a Link monster, especially with Omega still being at 3 in the TCG. GG. Like, they can just kind of make Omega, 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 and just constantly, you know, pick a card out of their opponent's hand and then summon it back to a main monster zone. And between this and Crystal Wing, like, they have some incredibly strong synchro monsters that they can put on the field. So I like this card a lot. I probably would never summon it as like the first monster in my extra monster zone that I want to keep on the field, because I don't think it has that much utility unless I'm going second and my opponent has like an established board of like 3 monsters and I basically need to crack them. Again, I think as long as you don't get rid of your ducks too early, or excuse me, your phalanx too early, I think you can get rid of everything else. Like, this card is more than capable of handling itself at 3300, and if it dies, it's just going to replace itself anyway. So yeah, very good card here. Little shocking that Konami did not give Dragunity a link, but I think maybe a link too would have been a little too easy to summon. So you guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Turn on that notification bell for daily videos.